Well, hello and welcome to episode 761 right here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. And let me tell you, it is all about grants. Yes. You're here in the right place, the right time. We're excited to have you joining us on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. As we dive into the world of grants, grant writing, and nonprofit success, we're super excited to have with us in the virtual studio, Iva Brown. She is the CEO of Motivating Factors. We also have the marketing director, Mayetta Powell, is with us, and they're going to be coming up right after this quick intro. Don't you move. You're here live on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Again, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. O to the M to the G. I am telling you what, we are so excited. Yeah, you heard that correct. Episode 761 right here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. And the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we're going to do just that. We also want to let you know that this segment is being brought to you by our 9th in-person event that's happening in Richmond, Virginia on November 7th and November 8th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. And it's the Platform Builder Summit. You might say, who should attend this? Any woman that is looking to expand and grow her marketing and her visibility and business development. Listen, so we're going to talk about branding and marketing. We're going to talk about the money. We're going to talk about grants. We're going to talk about government contracting. We're going to talk about corporate contracts. All of that is in there. All the things to help you build and grow your platform. So just jump over to platformbuildersummit.com. platformbuildersummit.com, and just check the link below wherever you're watching, because there's a direct link there for you to grab your ticket and your information while we're in early bird. All right. So welcome to all those that are live. Listen, we're hanging out on Facebook in a couple places. Shout out to Instagram. Shout out to LinkedIn. Shout out to YouTube and all the amazing places that are joining us here. So let me introduce and bring up to the mic our guest for today. Again, this segment, we're diving into the world of grant writing and nonprofit success with Motivating Factors, LLC. And what's amazing is that Iva Brown, who is the CEO of Motivating Factors, LLC, helps individuals and organizations reach their highest potential. For 9 years, she worked for Virginia Commonwealth University managing an HIV and AIDS program. She also worked for housing and homelessness nonprofit organizations for over 15 years. And she currently works for the State of Virginia, where she directs the State Opioid Response Program. In that role, she's managing an annual budget of over $27 million. And we're excited to have both the CEO and the marketing director joining us from Motivating Factors, LLC. Put your hands together as I bring them up to the stage here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're clapping it up. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Awesome. So it's always great to talk to people who are in the same city. We interview people from all over, but it's always great to have you hear from the same city and just amazing things that you're doing. And we see the hearts popping up already. And so I'm going to have you jump right on in. So Iva, I'd love to have you share the story of how you all created Motivating Factors, LLC.
Okay, well, one thing, Sharvette, you were actually one of our first interviews when we started. We were either on your show in 2012 or 2013. I can't remember, but you were one of our first. Yes. And just for those that are tuning in that know myself and Miata, yes, that is my Miata. She recently got married, so congratulations to the newlywed. If you notice that her name has changed, she is still my Miata. So we started Motivating Factors in 2012. And at the time, I was a director at a local nonprofit. I love my job. I love the grants that I wrote. I love the people. I loved everything, especially my boss. But I always had a desire to start my own business. And I was talking to my boss one day, and I was telling her that I wanted to start a business using my skills like grant writing, program development, strategic planning, and that I wanted to sort of tie that into helping people, like one-on-one. So I'm talking, and in her quiet little voice, she's saying life coaching. I'm not paying attention. I'm still talking. I said, yeah, I know I want to help people. I just don't know what it's called. So by the third time she said life coach, and I'm like, me? I said, I'm not a life coach. She's like, yes, you are. You coach your team, you coach your peers, you coach your family. That's all it took. So I was very strategic about my next move. So I applied for a job with another company, but with the intention of being hired as a consultant and not an employee. I didn't want to be an employee. So they offered me the position, and I asked if they would consider me as a consultant. Well, we've never done that before. I said, well, you didn't say no. Have your people talk to my people.
Right.
That's how we started. Out the gate, we had a year's contract, and we started that way. And then I became a certified life coach and started working with clients from that time on. So a marketing director has been with me since day one, and I depend on her a lot. Initially, it was just to help me with social media because I didn't know a thing about Facebook, Twitter, IG. I don't know Twitter, IG, or any of that stuff. But also to have her connect us to people like you, Sharvette, and she's been real successful with doing that. So I depend on her to keep me on track. We meet on a regular basis to make sure my homework's done. She doesn't play. So that's how we came to be. And the name came because I was just trying to figure out something. What gets people moving? What motivates people? Motivating factors. That's what we have to have, a motivating factor to make us do. So that's how the name came to be.
Oh, thank you for that backstory and reminding our audience. And certainly, Miata, definitely, I'd love for you to share kind of like when you first heard the opportunity, like, okay, let me work with this. Were you like, yeah, no, or oh yeah, I'm gonna dive right in? What was your initial?
Definitely the latter. Definitely like, let's do it. Being a millennial, I'm always on the computer, on social media. So it was kind of second nature to me. So I kind of play a background role. I am, like she said, getting the interviews. Normally I'm not on camera. I normally do the bookings and let her deal with the face-to-face part. But yeah, it was second nature to me to join. So
wonderful. And so let's jump in and talk about really kind of like the grant writing and the coaching. And so certainly many people want to write grants, but they don't know where to start or where to begin. And so, what are some of the first things that you all like to tell people? And Iva, will start with you, and then Miata, certainly have you jump in and add your commentary.
All right, Miata's probably not going to jump in on any of this. This is probably over on the camera limit already. I think one of the first things folks should do if they're looking for a grant is to find out if it's in line with their organization's mission. Because I see organizations chasing the money all the time. They try to make a grant fit their mission when they should see if the mission fits the grant. When you chase the money, your mission can get diluted, or what's often referred to as mission creep or mission drift. And that happens when leaders, when they lose focus of what the organization is intended to do. Most of the time, it's not conscious. It usually takes somebody from the outside, like me, to point it out. But when you're focused on chasing that money, you move your eyes from the prize, and your focus becomes on outlined services and tasks. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that you can't have a lofty goal to do these things at some point in time, but you have to stay focused on what your mission is and don't compromise your mission chasing money.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And it's real easy for people to fall into that place of, I'm just trying to chase money. Right. But then at the end of the day, as someone that has won a grant and is currently managing, in the outreach and got a report due today for a grant, it has to be connected to because you have to fulfill on whatever you said you were going to do with that money. And wow. And so thank you. We see you. Yes. Hey, Kim, coming on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. And so when, you've managed certainly, programs and multi-million-dollar budgets and all of that. And, someone might be saying, okay, I'm getting ready to look at a grant application and I got to think through all of these things. Like, what would you, in addition to what you said, anything else that you would say, hey, okay, you got to propose a grant budget, you got to propose some things. Here's things you need to do before you even go down that road.
Okay. This is a big one, and it's something that I infused into the program I managed during my day job. A big thing for funders that a whole lot of people overlook is whether your organization has a sustainability plan. What do you plan to do? How will you maintain that service, that program, once the funding is over? Funders want to ensure that there's a plan in place so the clients that you're serving, that they're not held in the balance, that they're in no better shape than they were before you had this intervention or this service. Yeah. So having that plan demonstrates to me that your organization is forward thinking and that you've done some strategic planning, because funders want to know that you got some sweat in the game. Ways you can do that is by including some in-kind things that you're donating to your program, even if they don't ask for it. If they don't ask for it in your budget, it's something you can still include. This shows that you're bringing something to the table and you're not expecting them to foot the whole bill. So it's kind of like, beginning with the end in mind. What are you going to do when their money runs? How are you going to sustain this service or this program?
Yeah. Awesome. And then from a standpoint of motivating factors, I'd love for both of you to share what are, services that you offer. How can you help organizations, in this space? And so Miata, I'll let you jump in and kind of just share, services and things that Motivating Factors offers.
So in addition to what she said, grant writing, there's life coaching, some simple things, notary services. We have financial workshops that we are implementing. So if folks visit our website, there's a ton of courses throughout the year, a ton of classes that we offer. And again, that's where I come in, trying to connect the dots between us and the folks that need those services. So be it monthly networking events, social media, just word of mouth. We offer a ton of resources, and I think we could help a lot of folks.
Awesome. And how can people? Oh yes, go right ahead.
Two of the classes that she mentioned, two are brand new this year. One is a grant writing class. It's a 2-day grant writing class. People have been asking me for years to do this, and I finally got the curriculum straight late last year. So we offered that for the first time this year. And then we have a 2-day leadership finesse workshop, whereas either for seasoned leaders or people that are thinking about leading, people that are leaders and don't know that they are. So those are two of the newest services. And then she mentioned that financial class. It's a class intended to help people teach other people financial skills. That's where Miata is going to be in the forefront, because this is her forte. All things finance, budgeting, this is her thing. So that's up and coming. We haven't offered the first class yet, but it's coming this year.
Wow. And for, classes that you all have offered, Miata, what have the responses been from people that have attended? What has that been like?
We ask for a lot of feedback. We're always looking for ways to better ourselves, better the materials. A lot of people say, it's just, I didn't think about this, or it's new, or I just needed a refresher. We get a lot of good feedback. That's normally handles those comments and things like that. But like I said, we're always looking for feedback, and you can always better yourself. So
awesome. And what's if someone's watching saying, okay, where should they go if they want to know when the next ones are? They virtual? Are they in person? Do they have to be in Richmond? Can you give a little bit?
They do not have to be in Richmond. Like I actually am in Louisiana right now. So yeah, I just moved from Richmond. So no, to answer your question, East Coast, West Coast, worldwide, 100% of them have been virtual, especially after COVID. It was just logistically easier to get everybody in one place virtually. the other part of your question, if they want to find us, they can visit our website. We are on, like you said, Facebook, Instagram. The website itself is motivatingfactorsllc.org. And then it has all of our other links and everything listed there.
Okay,
So one
great.
thing I would say about our reach, just before we got on today, we were taking inventory of how many states we have reached. And today is 29.
Go ahead.
That's one of the reasons we backed our classes up. They used to start at 9 a.m. And then we thought about it. We're trying to attract people from the whole country. So let's back it up to 11:30. So it's East Coast time at 11:30, but West Coast is 8:30. So they come from all over. They come from
all over. And listen, we have listeners from all over. So there you go. There are times if you're in California, you Wichita, Kansas, Florida, New York, we got you. We got you covered. And who should attend, and who would be? Can it be just nonprofit? Can for-profit? Can businesses go for grants?
Businesses, individuals, for-profit, nonprofits, LLCs, because they're grants that tailor all those industries, and so it's not just catered to one area. So anybody can benefit from grants and grant writing and those services.
Wonderful. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are different types of grants, which you just kind of like talked about. But before I go there, I'd love biggest mistakes, like first time grant writers. Either of you or both of you can chime in. Like, what are some mistakes that maybe you see from first time grant writers?
Oh, Lord. Not doing your homework. Not doing your homework before applying for a grant. I mean, things like checking to see if your organization is even eligible. So right now, I'm soliciting applications from faith-based organizations. You won't believe the number of non-faith entities that have applied. Reading is
not reading. Right. People just read.
Careful research will help you learn about the funders' priorities, the organization they funded before, things like that. But I think the biggest thing is that people just don't give themselves enough time to write a quality application. They just don't. They think they can pull something together in a few hours, but the reality is it's a process, and it ain't for the faint of heart. So when I write grants, I start my timeline backwards, meaning I start with the due date and work my way back to the day I start. And I put cushions in. I always submit 1 to 2 days before the due date. I have witnessed firsthand when somebody didn't get a grant in because they were applying at the last minute and technical glitches.
System crash.
The consequences were dire. In most cases, you're putting information into a grant portal and they won't let you submit beyond the deadline. But if by some magical way you're allowed to get in, it won't be funded. Don't even worry about it. It won't be funded.
Now, I know there are people listening saying, Iva, can you just write the grant for me? Like, is that a service y'all provide?
Yes, we do. Yes. So we have a class to teach you how to write.
All right.
But it's like anything else. Like, you can make your own travel arrangements, but you may want to pay a travel agent to do it. You can, but you don't want to. So we can do both. We actually write grants for people, and we teach people how to write them for themselves.
Correct.
Oh, wonderful. Let's see here, Miata. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think she covered it all. Like she said, the biggest thing is making sure you get it in a day before, if not 2, because you just never know. Anything can happen. Computer can die.
The internet can go out, because I'm actually in a different studio today because my main studio, Comcast internet, has been out all day. So what if there was, something, a grant that was due, and you have to rustle around and figure out I got to go somewhere else to get this in. And so
I think that, and just letting the potential client know that just because you write it doesn't mean they're going to get awarded it. It may be partial, maybe all, maybe none, and you'll have to try again next year. So just keeping those expectations up front.
Okay, good. And so let's talk about, because there is some confusion, I think, maybe around the types of grants available. Right. Could you all kind of share the different types of grants that are available?
Okay, it's a lot, but I'll just touch on a few. So the federal grants, those are going to be your most time consuming. You have to follow the letter of the law, and they come with a great deal of scrutiny. Most of them are competitive, the federal grants, but then there's some mandatory grants. what you call block grants. Then you have some federal grants that are awarded on a formula based on certain number of people you have in your population, or the amount of people that are affected by something, like with HIV/AIDS. Those funds are granted on a formula based on the number of HIV/AIDS and or AIDS cases you have in what they call a metropolitan statistical area. Sometimes those federal grants can come to your organization directly. Other times they're what's called pass-through, meaning they go to the state or the locality and then they're passed on to another entity. A place where a lot of nonprofits get money from are things like foundations, which these foundations can either be charitable trusts that families set up, or they can be public, where the foundation is seeking donations from the public to fund organizations. And then corporations. There are many, many corporations that have a charitable arm. They just don't always advertise. You got to do your research. But banks, Bank of America, Capital One, places like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, they have money there. Sometimes it's not a lot of money. It may only be, $5,000 here, $10,000 there. Sometimes they may not give you operating money, but they may give you sponsorship for a conference or something like that. All of that money matters. Don't leave any money on the table. For new organizations, I often point them to capacity building grants, because those funds can help strengthen their systems, which increases their effectiveness. So things like, you can get money for things like upgrading your technology, strategic planning, succession planning, anything like that, board development. So there are a number of other types of grants, but these are the ones that we work with most often.
Wonderful. Thank you for spelling that out there. And that's why it's a benefit to work with professionals like you all who have done this for years, and also in your corporate world, you're managing, budgets and grants and things of that nature. Wow. Welcome. If you just popping in, we're seeing you coming on in. Listen, this is about, hey, so you want to write grants, and we've got motivating factors here in the studio, CEO and the marketing director. How can they follow you all online, Miata?
So on Facebook, we are primarily on there. We are on Instagram as well, but Facebook is going to be www.facebook.com/motivating factors LLC. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. Sorry. And then, like I said, we have our socials. We have our business page that has all of our contact information, our email address, which is motivatingfactors@gmail.com. We can be reached by phone at 804-502-1145. And again, if you missed any of that, looks like there's our website at the bottom, and then it should be on all of our social medias and yours as well.
Yes, awesome. And if you are listening to the podcast, look down below in the show notes. We have the link there. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're on YouTube, look down below in the show notes and you can get right to the website. Yes, Iva.
So if you need to reach me directly, do not do it on IG or Twitter.
9 times out of 10, you want to be talking to me. 10 times out of 10, you want to be talking to me.
I answer the phone and I answer the email.
Old school.
Yeah, and Facebook. But Twitter and IG, that's me. I don't fool with that.
That's it. That's it.
Stay in my lane.
So that's why we're glad we have Miata here, faced with the name, so you all know who you're going to be dealing with, who you're going to be talking to. I'd love to hear if you could tell any wins or any like customer success stories or clients that you all have helped. We'd love to hear that.
So I recently wrote a grant for an out-of-state domestic violence shelter. The money that they got will help them pay for rent and utilities for the families exiting their shelter. And I'm not saying women, because it's not always women.
Right.
It was a big thing because a lot of the money that comes from the federal level for homeless people that are leaving domestic violence shelters, they have to be homeless before they come into the shelter to get that assistance. Now, the issue here is that in most cases, when people come into domestic violence shelter, they technically weren't homeless before they came in because they had a roof over their heads. Now, even though there was danger under that roof, as far as the federal government is concerned, you had a place to stay, so you were not homeless. So this grant that they got enabled them to pay for those people who otherwise wouldn't have been able to get assistance. So in
Wow.
addition to paying for things like rent, utility, they're also able to purchase household items, furniture, clothing, because as you can imagine, most people that are fleeing domestic violence, they literally leave with the clothes on their back. So
Right.
having those supports were huge. So I'm hoping
Mm.
to apply other organizations, other DV organizations for that same pot of money. But as you know, money is kind of limited. But that was a huge thing. It was big.
Awesome. And what impact, right? That kind
Yes.
of ripple effect.
Yes.
Great. Any other wins or celebrations that you'd like to share about with
Um,
clients?
this one really, I mean, it wasn't a motivating factors win, but it was a win for my grant writing skills, the one that I did last
Yeah.
year for my opioid program, because this was the first time that it was a 3-year cycle. And the total awarded was 83 million. I have never written a grant for that. Never.
Wait a minute. Y'all need to, yes, rewind this back. She said 83
Yeah.
million.
With an M.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. We'll get to the B with the B, but that was huge. It was very
That's
stressful.
huge.
For one, because it was the first time I had written this kind of grant. Two, my livelihood was in that part of my livelihood because my salary and my team's salary, so no pressure, no.
Right.
And I hadn't even been on the job maybe 2 or 3 months, so it was a big deal. It really was. It's a big deal.
Congratulations. So certainly as a colleague of mine would say, you got street cred, like you got, so, and I think that this is a great point to bring up because there's, I think so much, the good thing about social media is everybody can be on it. The bad thing about social media is everybody can be on it. So you might have people say, grants, we help you with grant, and they're just giving you a list. Like they're don't have any experience behind submitting, writing, winning, managing. And so I think this is what motivating factors brings to the table. And so, oh my goodness, I'm telling you, our time is running out. So one more time, I'd love for you to share again, and I want to hear from both of you, all the services. So Iva, if you could talk about the grant side, and then Miata, if you could talk about the classes and things. Just want to make sure the listeners know all the ways that they can work with you.
So as we said, we can actually write the grant for you. Some people are not interested in knowing how to write. They just want the money. We can do that for you. Also, if you're awarded the grant, you have some responsibilities for reporting, data collection. We can help with that as well. This is not a class, but some of the other services are things like strategic planning. If you need help starting a nonprofit or your own business, we can do that. Help you with things like board development, developing your actual programs. It's like sometimes people say, I know I want to do this, but here you go, make it pretty. We do that. Anything you can think about running a nonprofit, we can help you with. Strategic planning, if you just need somebody to come to facilitate your retreat, anything like that. And I'll let Miata talk about the classes.
All right, Miata, let us know about the class.
You kind of touched on some of them, but some of the other classes we offer is trauma-informed care, housing counseling, business coaching, life coaching, resume writing, case management. So in addition to what she mentioned, like I said, it's a plethora of classes to pick from.
Motivational interview, and don't forget that one.
Yeah. And like I said, all of that's listed on our website. So I'm sure some way, be it personal or business, we can help in some way, for sure.
Oh, right. I love that. And so the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. We know this topic motivates people. Certainly people are looking, like you said, don't leave money out there. So if there's money that is available for our businesses, our nonprofits, our even ministries and individuals, we want to be going after it. The one thing I do want to have you highlight and just touch on is that, certainly the current administration, halted some things with grants and things. What are you seeing in relation to that? Because some people might feel like, well, should I go after grants because of what happened? Any response to that?
Well, I always tell people, forget the current administration. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Just like the program I just talked about, we got this $83 million grant for 3 years. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I
Right.
tell people, don't try to predict the future because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. So go for it. What's the worst they can say? No.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Close
What's the word?
mouth, not get paid. So,
All right. And so I'd love to hear, Iva, what continues to motivate you? And then Miata will end up with you. What continues to motivate you?
I definitely have to say my family. I'm the matriarch, and I have 11 women coming behind me, daughters, sisters,
Wow.
cousins, nieces, and I have to leave breadcrumbs for those coming behind me.
Yeah.
Yes, I get personal satisfaction from motivating factors, but I spread it around. Our marketing director is my oldest daughter. My young trainers, her youngest daughter will join us as an admin assistant. Even my fiance is a part of motivating factors. Like Miata, he prefers to be behind the scenes, but provides a lot of consultation and infuses new ideas into the company. I definitely have to include my mom and my grandma, even though they're not here. I still want to make them proud, and I think they'd be pleased to see us as a family making motivating factors successful. I think they'd be pleased.
Listen, job well done. Thank you, Gwen. She said, I'm late to the party. Hey, girl, hey, I'll check the replay. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, the replay is up. You'll be able to see it wherever you're watching and listening. All right, Miata, what continues to motivate you?
Honestly, I'd say some of the same. I would say I'm the matriarch for the next generation. I'm the oldest
Yeah.
grandchild, the oldest niece, the oldest daughter. So kind of echoing what she said, but for the generation after me, and just, brown and people, women that look like me, to let them know that they can do it in whatever capacity. I wear a lot of hats. I'm the marketing director. I'm a wife. I'm a soldier, United States Army. So just letting people know that you can do it, and maybe starting at just the legacy that's coming behind me.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to our country. Wow, I'm telling you, our time flew on by. Again, listeners, if you're listening, it went by fast, right? If you're listening to the podcast, look down below in the show notes. You'll see all the links and information for our guests. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and then go ahead and you'll see down in the show notes links and everything. We've tagged on Instagram, we've tagged on Facebook. So if you're following me, Sharvette.com is the best way. Just go to Sharvette.com. We have a full blog post about motivating factors, and you can find out all the information there. So ladies, thank you. It was great to have you back on the show from, I don't know what episode that was, in 2012. That probably, oh gosh, might have been like in the hundreds, maybe 200s. I have to go back and look that up. I'm curious.
I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Me too.
But thank you, and wishing you just much more continued success as you help people.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thanks for having us, Miss Sharvette.
Oh, you're welcome. You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Thanks.
right. You're welcome. Wow. I'm telling you. Listen, we are here. I am known as the platform builder. I own the trademark for that, right? And it's around marketing and branding. But the baseline of the framework for the platform builder is all around your customers, your services, what you offer, who you serve. Guess what? Your customer might be related to a government grant. Your customer might be related to a grant programming that you provide for a grant that you want from a foundation. So I just want to encourage all of our viewers and our listeners and my customers, like, I want you to look everywhere. I want you to look everywhere. Again, this is from the person speaking. I'm managing a grant, multiple six-figure grant, which I have a report due today, the 15th. So I am, and the grant that I am managing is not directly tied to initially what my business is. My business certainly is in charge of the marketing and the outreach. I got radio ads getting ready to start running this week and all of that. But I just keep in mind that in this time, in this age, especially if you are faith-based, the money, we want to go after the money and just be open to thinking about where that money is and what you can be doing to help this community, to help your business, to help everything. So, all right, that's it. It's a wrap for today. We'll see you all later on the web. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Get Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m. interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.